Hi, Aurélien.
Hi, Celine.
Thanks so much for being here today. You will find the LinkedIn profile of both Daniela and Aurélien in the link in the bio. And of course, you can contact both of them anytime for any additional support. And before we dig deeper into the topic that brings us here today, I would like to quickly introduce the group for those who might not know us yet. So Worms Safety is a family group with more than 170 years of experience. We have a presence worldwide with 1,400 specialists in 80 countries and a network of 15 laboratories. And within the group, we have companies specialized in different areas of expertise. And since today we're focusing on consumer good, I would like to introduce one of them, API, the household good expert of the group. So expert on hard lines, toys, DIY. And the Worms Safety Laboratories bring its lab expertise and innovation to all of them, supporting the advanced tailor-made solution for each of our client needs. And this is exactly what brings us here today. One of the solutions developed by Worms Safety Laboratories to bring a sustainable way for 0% unexpected chemical risk, the Chem Scan Check. And I believe Aurélien has a few insights to share about how this new solution, is helping some of its customers.
Hi, Celine, thank you. So as you mentioned, I'm in charge of customer support team at API, and I've been in the TAC industry since 2008. And I've worked with our teams and our partners on setting up specific QA solutions. And in API today, we have a bit more than 300 customers, mainly mass market retailers and brands from different countries. What we hear the most now is that our customers are facing more and more challenges. Of course, with the pandemic, logistical issues, raw material price increase, the risk of subcontracting, or the lack of transparency. And we see even new challenges ahead, like, for example, with regulation updates with even more restricted substances. There will be an update of the GPSD in Europe, some new regulations related to the circular economy and packaging in different markets. So I can see among those customers different setup and awareness on the topics of compliance management and sustainability. For example, some customers have a very mature risk-based approach and testing programs. They are well aware of the risk on their products, and some of them are even going upstream on the control of their raw materials. Some customers focus only on the finished product. So in case of any failures, most of the time it's too late. And finally, some of our customers have no real system, or they have limited knowledge and they need even more support from an expert. But generally speaking, they are all very concerned, and they want really to offer safe products and free from any harmful substances to the consumers.
So Aurélien, if you allow me to ask then, so what do you have in mind? What would you like to offer your customers?
Well, in the context we have, we would like to provide a solution that is quick and easy to increase the confidence in the product's chemical safety. A 360-degree chemical risk prevention solution, especially for monitoring purpose or for new and recycled materials.
Okay, I understand. And indeed, also from laboratory side, we face many situations in which customers ask us about a different approach to chemical testing. Because looking at the current mainstream approach for testing hazardous substances, a risk-based approach based on like 20 to 30 single individual substances in average is mostly established. And this comes mainly from requirements set by the legislation bodies like the European Chemical Agency authorities, the ECHA, or industry groups like a firm who defined these restricted substances lists called RSLs, and often in relation to test methods addressing one substance group at a time. And as the list of restricted substances can contain hundreds of substances and extends frequently, it is often not economically feasible to test everything in basically almost all the cases. And therefore, only the critical parameters are tested. And this kind of test strategy might have been working so far, but as you mentioned, the increasingly in transparency of where the material comes from due to complex supply chain, increased usage of recycled material, and the upcoming stricter regulation. Really, I think a rethinking is taking place in the industry as now the benefits of active chemical management start to outweigh the related cost. And in order to support our partners to take the next step in changing their test strategies, we developed our ChemScan Check solution, which scans over 285 substances in one go. And instead of just looking for the expected outcome, we offer our partners insight into what they normally do not see with a traditional risk-based test approach.
Yes. And so, Daniela, what's new and unique with the ChemScan Check?
Let me start first. What I think in general is unique. What is our unique selling point for any kind of lab testing that we are trying to offer? We really want to transform lab testing from a random detection of symptoms to a verified method of risk prevention action on client side. So not just the test report failed, passed, and that's it. Of course, we do that. We offer at the Worms Safety Network, the global network of like 15 laboratories, we offer the traditional way of testing, of course, but what we really aim for is to enable our customers to anticipate risk, identify root causes, and actually go beyond what they can see today. And that brings me back now to ChemScan Check specifically, because obviously performing one test run instead of the full substance list, test by test, is the new proposal we would like to establish in the market. With just up to 5 grams of material, you can get a screening result referring to the restricted substance list relevant to REACH as well as to Affirm for your textile and plastic materials within 72 hours. And this at a cost level that actually makes sense.
So our customers could get more visibility in a single test, and they could also get the results in only 72 hours. Is it right?
Yes, they do get a better visibility of the substances in the tested material, which I personally see as the main benefit of the method. So when I talked also to customers, they were really actually very concerned about the lead time. They were more excited about the opportunities the method provides to achieve their company strategies. I have to say there are quite some unique approaches for the upcoming years that do not necessarily focus on the common test parameters like sample size, lead time, test cost. But yes, looking at it from more sales transactional perspective, I do see the appeal of the shorter lead time for the service.
Okay, so today it can be used for all products containing plastic and textile. And it could particularly be interesting for sensitive products like children items. And it can be used from the start to the end, from raw materials, semi-finished products, and finished products. Is that right?
Yes, that's totally right. ChemScan Check can be extremely helpful as a tool over the whole supply chain. Also, it can serve different purposes based on the specific needs of a client. You mentioned in the beginning some of the challenges companies are facing when dealing with chemical management topics. So we offer our ChemScan Check service not as a one-size-fits-all solution, but within a customized concept, addressing very specific focus points, like, for example, monitoring purposes within a vendor empowerment program, or complementing the sustainable strategy with a scientific method. When we actually started developing ChemScan Check, we did an internal research, and we found that 80% of the chemicals in Asia are produced either locally or come from an unknown source. So even with a very strong global quality management program in place, there's still a certain risk. And in a context where like recycled materials are increasingly used, the possibility of having unknown substances in the materials of products are even getting higher. So during our development, method development, we have seen cases in which children products passed the risk-based RSL test approach, but with our ChemScan Check method, we detected a non-compliance.
Yeah, and I remember the case of a Plush toy, for instance, where we found a fertilizer chemical, and it was very unlikely, but it was detected with the ChemScan Check.
Yes, that's what we found. Digging a bit deeper, the brand actually found that the new supplier they were working with was using some local chemicals, and that's why we found the fertilizer in the product. And that's not an isolated case. We also got some shirt buttons in which we found the presence of a flame retardant. Most likely because the supplier used recycled material, probably used for electronic products in its previous life.
Going on another question for you, Daniela, why do we mention 285 chemicals, and could you explain a bit more how it works?
So actually, it's more than 285, and it's just the start. It's not the end. It's a dynamic program, as mentioned. The substance lists are also very dynamic. And looking at our current test equipment, we have actually over 500 substances calibrated with external standards. So we still have some room for improvement. But each substance takes very long to be validated. It requires a lot of R&D work to ensure really the repeatability and the accuracy of the test method. So we really try to focus in the initial development phase on textile and plastic materials, where we saw the most critical materials in relation to the firm RSL, which also covers, and it is in some cases even more strict than the EU, the US, and the Chinese regulations. So how does it work? Let me try to explain this in very simple words. So basically, we take a material sample, we dissolve it with a very powerful solvent, and then we run an analysis via our two equipments, the GCMS and the LC-MSMS. And the equipment then gives us the testing results, and based on that, we can evaluate the content of each or individual substances in the material. There is a certain limitation to ChemScan to organic substances. So if the client would like to focus on 100% of a firm or REACH, we would do ChemScan Check plus additional testing for the non-organic substances like heavy metals or formaldehyde on top via the traditional established methods.
Yes, and by the way, which chemicals are covered by the ChemScan Check?
So we'll not run through the 285 because that would take too long, but just to give you an idea about the substance groups we're covering. So we're covering the phthalates, we're covering the PAH, we're covering the azo dye, the dispersed dyes, the short middle chain chlorinated paraffins, PCP, VOCs, the APOs, the NPOs, the OPOs, the dimethyl fumarate, and the PFOA as examples.
Okay, I think this is quite clear now. Thanks. Maybe one last question before we finish. What do you have on your agenda with regards to new regulations coming up, and how does ChemScan subscribe into this?
That's a good question, Aurélien. You mentioned earlier the revision of the General Product Safety Directive. Additionally, we expect a revision of REACH, as the EU chemicals strategy really aims to better protect citizens and the environment, as well as boosting innovation for safe and sustainable chemicals. Certain substances will have to phase out, while for others, the cocktail effect of substance combinations might need to be considered. We also can expect a stronger enforcement of EU rules on chemicals nationally, as well as on the EU borders. And we also can expect less tolerance to non-compliance. So this will also mean an increased responsibility across the supply chain regarding risk management. And ChemScan Check can help to prepare for these upcoming changes, either by offering a monitoring tool to manage the risk, or as a material evaluation tool for material selection.
Great. Thanks a lot, Daniela. It was really nice talking to you about the solution, is to go a bit deeper on this topic. Everyone, you have our contact on LinkedIn, and you can contact us for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Aurélien. As always, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
So,
Bye-bye.
likewise.